Here are three things that I teach all my MBA students that someday might just get me fired, but until then, I'm going to keep teaching them. Hi, I'm Suzy Welch. I'm a professor of management at NYU Stern School of Business, and here are those three things. Number one, I hope you're sitting down. It's this: don't network. Networking is terrible. Whenever I bring this up and people immediately act shocked, I ask them, do you like networking? I've never had one person say, yes, I love networking. This is what networking looks like. You go to a networking event and you hand your card or share your name with some complete stranger and you've got these fake smiles plastered on your face. It's extremely awkward and everyone hates it. Why do we do it? Very few people get ahead because of an acquaintance that they met in a really cold hotel conference room where they exchanged cards. You know how people get ahead? People get ahead, first of all, with their own hard work and their own ideas, but they get ahead when they get ahead through people, by friends, people who like them or even love them. And the trick is not to network, which is to try to connect in a mercenary way with people you barely know, or no, not at all, but to actually spend your life making genuine friends. Now, I'm not saying you have to be besties with everyone. No one can do that. We all have our limits. But get to know people as individuals, look them in the eye, ask them a personal question, share something about yourself, and by all means, do not expect an immediate return on it, if any return at all. Some of the most amazing things that have ever happened in my career happened because I made friends with somebody, because I'm a big person who's really into just making friends with people. I think that's just the way to live, frankly. And it's actually come to fruition 20 years later, because I made friends with somebody. That's how you go through life thinking about relationships. Now, I want to point out that at my business school, like every other business school in the world, everybody is fed the doctrine of network. I actually had a student say to me one time, I make 60 networking phone calls a week. He actually boasted to me, and I said, have any of those worked out for you? And he said, not yet. And the thought bubble over my head was like, and not ever, my friend. I don't see the dividends. I've been around business for a very long time. Occasionally, a friend who wants to help you will lead you to somebody who will help you, but you had to have that friendship first. So I want to tell you a short story before we move off of this topic, because I might just have my head spin off my body. I was actually giving the graduation speech at NYU, and I was giving some advice to the audience before they graduated, and I said, don't network. And there was like this collective gasp, because they'd all, except for my students who'd heard me say it already in the classroom, this is like saying the sky is green, or this is like saying be unkind to animals. It's just not done. And I actually turned and looked at the dean on the stage, who was sitting right behind me, and I said, do I still have my job? And he sort of had a vague smile on his face, like, I wonder where this is going. In the end, he agreed, as most people do, that true friendships, true relationships are the way that we help each other and get ahead in this world. So please stop this nonsense, mercenary, meaningless networking stuff. You hate it, so don't do it. There's a reason why you hate it, and because you already know in your bones that it's phony. Do the real thing and make friends. Here's the second thing that I tell my students all the time that might just, lead somebody to come have a conversation with me at some point, and that is stop looking for a mentor, some knight in shining armor who's going to gallop alongside you, swoop you up, and lead you to the career of your dreams. There's a much better, more effective, and more realistic solution, which is this. You have to think of everyone as a mentor. Everyone is a mentor. Younger, older, less experienced, more experienced, at your company, not at your company. You don't even have to know them personally. And everybody should be a mentor, because you know what? Everyone knows something you don't know. Even if you are looking at somebody and you think, that client came into this meeting and I just love the way she commanded the room. Or that person is so good with customers because he does this one thing right before he asks for something hard from a customer. That person is a mentor. Everybody is a teacher of what you can be doing better. And they don't have to save your career or make your career. They will save and make your career by you learning from their example. And again, they don't even have to know. One day, I was on the Today Show, which I'm very lucky to appear on every now and again, and I was chit-chatting about this very topic with one of the hosts, Hoda Kotb. And I said to her, you've been my mentor for years. And she said, I have been? She was completely stunned. And I said, yes, I've watched you incredibly closely. I've learned so much from you about how you operate in the world, and you've been a great mentor to me. And she was totally taken aback. all of your mentors can be taken aback. Now, look, it's great when there's somebody at work who really cares about you and you have a great relationship and you learn from each other and they help you out and make calls for you. That's terrific. I'm not saying let go of those. I'm saying expand it, open the aperture, and have as many mentors as you can possibly gather. What's the downside if you're learning from everybody? And you know what? I learn all the time from the wonderful young people who are on my team in their 20s. They're always teaching me stuff, and they're always teaching me about different ways to be in the world. I learn from my students. They're some of the greatest mentors I have about how to succeed and survive and thrive in this world. Here's the third thing that I said this at the graduation speech that I mentioned earlier. I said it before. I don't think anybody was crazy about when I said it. It ended up being the most popular thing that I said that day in that graduation speech. When you smile with your eyes like this. Okay, now, when you go to work, you are told, let me just explain where I'm coming from with this. When you go to work, you're told you have to be very professional, be a grown-up, you're not at school anymore, be a professional person. And so what ends up happening is you think that means to be kind of formal and to be kind of withholding and to kind of put up boundaries. You think that's what it is to be a grown-up. Whereas in fact, you learn slowly but surely that the more authentic you are and the more real you are and the more vulnerable you are, the better. You're going to learn that eventually. But the way you can change that right in a second is to actually let down your guard. And when you smile at people, don't do this. Like phony smile. If you really want to smile and show your true self, smile with your eyes, put your whole face into it if you're feeling it. Show who you are. You're going to be liked so much more. You're going to be trusted so much more. People are going to want to know you. Warmth is a good thing. And yet when we go into work early in our career, we kind of put up this frosty exterior because we think it's professional. And maybe it makes you feel more professional. Maybe you think it's you protecting your boundaries, but that's a pretty self-defeating attitude. And I think that this is a very hard thing, especially for Gen Z to accept because they don't want work to be their family and they generally don't want work to be their friends. I get it. I understand why those feelings exist. I've got kids who are young, but I'm going to tell you that if you want a big career and a successful career, and that's a big if, it's not for everybody, but if you do, showing your true self, allowing your vulnerability to come through and showing it with your face, not just your thoughts, but showing it with your face and smiling with your eyes. And I'm not talking about smizing. Okay, I'm talking about really smiling and with your face, put your whole face and your whole heart into it and be your true self at work. And you don't want to work at a place that won't let you do that to the extent that feels comfortable to you. All right, so that's the third piece of advice. I don't expect that they're coming for me anytime soon. I'm pretty happy and I think they're pretty happy with me. But this is not conventional advice. I still put it out there because I really want my students to have great lives and I want you to have them too. If you want to learn more about having a spectacular career that feels very authentic to you, I have a whole methodology for that. It's the Becoming You methodology. Check out my website, SuzyWelch.com, or get my book, which is called Becoming You, and you can learn more. Thanks a lot. I'm Suzy Welch.